How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to talk about full range of motion and how just a few little tweaks can get you a lot of gains. How's it going, everybody? My name is Connor Covington and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to talk about full range of motion and how we can really use it to effectively help us grow. So a few little things before we go into the gym and show you some do's and don'ts of full range of motion. I want to give you a little bit more in-depth details of what full range of motion is and why it actually helps us out. So in order to start, we need to know the three phases of motion, which is 1, the concentric motion, 2, the isometric, 3, the eccentric motion. Out of these three motions, can anybody guess which one's the most powerful? The correct answer is the eccentric motion. A quick few tips to remember each phase of the motion is the concentric is the contraction, so the lengthening of the muscle. The isometric is tension on the muscle, but there's no movement. And the eccentric is the elongating or the lengthening of the muscle. So the eccentric is the most important. What does that mean? That means the eccentric, the lengthening of the muscle, is when the most amount of microtrauma occurs in the muscle. What microtrauma is cellular damage to the muscle tissue that brings about growth factor inside the muscle tissue. And what does growth factor do? It makes us grow. So if we want that growth factor, if we want to grow, we really need to start focusing on the eccentric motion. Not to say that the concentric or the isometric motion aren't important, because they are, but the eccentric motion is the most important when we're talking about muscle growth or muscle hypertrophy. So a few things that most people do when they first start working out is they only really focus on the motion of the lift, which isn't a problem at all, and it's a great way to start off. But if we really want to start growing that muscle, we really need to start diving into the science of the muscle and what actually makes us grow. A super quick tip that may help you change your mindset and automatically start thinking of the eccentric motion rather than the concentric motion, which is what a lot of people think of, is a lot of people when they're doing, let's say curls for example, they start from, they just want to get the weight from point A to point B. Let's change those points real quick. So now we want to get the weight from point A to point B. This is going to allow us to think, so instead of trying to bring the weight up as our main goal, we're trying to bring the weight down as our main goal. This will allow us to focus on that eccentric movement a lot more. So whatever the workout is, curls, point A, point B, tricep pushdowns, point A, point B, any other workout, switch it up. The contraction is not what we're looking for, even though it's very important and you still should do it every single rep. The eccentric, the elongation is what we are looking for. So without any further ado, we're gonna head straight down to the gym and we're gonna show you some do's and some don'ts of some of the most common lifts that everybody implements into their workouts. Let's go.
Alright, so we're starting off with the curl. And as you can see here, I'm starting off with the cheated version where I use momentum. And what this does is it takes tension off the bicep and puts it on our back in areas that may not be able to handle it, and that's how we get injured. In this version, the form is a little more strict, a little more safer, but we're not getting that full eccentric movement in the bicep because I'm stopping about 3/4 the way down and not getting that full elongation, which means we're not getting the most out of our workout. So what we want to do is actually flex the tricep at the bottom, as you can see I'm doing here. And when we're flexing the tricep, our biceps are fully elongated, so we have that full eccentric movement to that full contraction. Moving on to the tricep pushdown, as you can see again, I'm using momentum, which is taking tension off my triceps. So if you're doing it this way, it may be a little heavy. Going to a little more stricter form, but still half reps, and the weight might still be too heavy. What we want to do is, just like the curls, we want to flex our bicep at the top so our triceps are fully elongated, and then we can push down, getting that full eccentric movement. Moving on to the calf raise, this is another common mistake people do, is that they don't go past neutral because they load the weight too heavy. What we want to do is drop the weight a little bit, and we want to go past the neutral level, as you can see here, to the full contraction. Full elongation, eccentric, full concentric. Moving on to the leg press, as you can see here, I'm doing more half reps, which means I can't go from the bottom of the movement to the top, it's just too heavy. And another thing that people do is they put their hands on their legs so they can help their legs push the way up, which all that means is your legs aren't doing much of the work and now your upper body is doing the work. And we're moving on to the full range of motion here as our legs come all the way to our stomach to come up. And remember, we want to be in a position that is comfortable for us, so if you can't go all the way to the bottom like that, it's okay. Work on flexibility, but you want to be somewhere in that region. And last but not least, we got the dumbbell row. Started off with half reps, but this is the full version. We want that full eccentric movement of the lats, so we want to come all the way down, fully lengthen those lats to the full contraction.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope it helped you out a little bit so you can start focusing more on that eccentric movement. If you enjoyed the video, then please do me a favor and like it. If you want to leave a comment, suggestion, or just how you felt about the video, go ahead and leave in the comment section down below. And if you want to stay tuned to your free guide to your fit life, subscribe. Thanks guys.